A Tangipahoa Parish deputy has been fired and arrested. 61-year-old Mike Johnson is accused of showing inappropriate pictures to juveniles while working a security detail. He was fired this afternoon. He had been a TPSO deputy for almost 4 years. He was booked with indecent behavior with a juvenile and malfeasance in office.
Former Jonesboro police officer Joseph Tucker Harris has pleaded guilty to charges following his use of excessive force against a detainee in August of 2024. So Harris was fired and arrested after a video captured the officer beating a handcuffed inmate as he was being transferred back from the hospital. Now, Harris was sentenced to 120 days and 48 months on probation. He's going to serve 30 days in jail and spend the remaining 90 days on house arrest.
The Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office says they have arrested one of their former deputies, Andre Stevens. He is accused of collecting pay while not working. The Caddo Sheriff says his violation of the policy resulted in a loss of more than $14,000. Caddo Parish deputies say the former deputy Stevens enlisted in the U.S. Army Reserves. In 2024, he was still employed with the Sheriff's Office at the time. Their policy allows for a pay to bridge the gap between military and sheriff's salaries during basic training. Stevens returned from basic training in February of this year. However, he did not return to work after his allotted 90 days. He continued to receive pay until his abrupt resignation in September. He faces 1 count of theft.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Bad Apple Report. I really appreciate you being here. All right, let's start our day out in Syracuse, New York. We're talking about this guy from upstate New York. He's a bad apple, and he made it on the Bad Apple Report. It says here the New York State Police announced the arrest of Shaquille B. Muhammad, a Syracuse police officer. Uh-oh. What did Shaquille B. Muhammad do? First of all, what does the B stand for anyways? Probably Bin Laden. And Shaquille, you know he was a baller. I wonder if he was a globetrotter before they put him on the no-fly list. Just kidding. Let's find out. It says here, after a 4-month investigation into a series of fraudulent transactions involving a Lowe's store in Syracuse. Oh, he's been arrested for that. Oh, Muhammad. Prayer rugs aren't cheap. Let's find out what he did. Troopers say 32-year-old Muhammad used his Lowe's credit card to purchase more than $3,000 in merchandise over several days in January 2025, then contacted the issuing bank to file a false fraud report claim. He claimed the purchases were unauthorized. Uh-oh. As a result, the bank refunded the full amount to his account. Dang. On November 20th, Muhammad turned himself in to the state police barracks in North Syracuse, where he was charged with grand larceny in the 3rd degree, a Class D felony, and falsifying business records in the 1st degree, a Class E felony. He was arraigned in Onondaga County court and released on his own recognizance. Oh no. You guys, he's going to be scaring the public with that ankle monitor. Everybody's going to think it's a bomb. It's not. It's just Shaquille Bin Laden Muhammad and his ankle monitor for stealing from Lowe's. Okay, that's all we have on him, and I really appreciate you being here today, folks. Let's move on with the show.
Tonight, an NYPD officer charged with raping a teenage girl was released from custody. News 12's Heather Fordham joining us now in studio with what we're learning about their relationship and the latest on the investigation. Heather.
Amanda, police sources tell us Nadegni Kapan, a 27-year-old NYPD officer, had an intimate relationship with the 15-year-old girl and engaged in sexual activity with her at his Co-op City apartment. The alleged relationship all came to a head when police were called to the building for an assault. Court documents now revealing what went on behind closed doors. A rookie NYPD officer pled not guilty to rape, sexual misconduct, and endangering the welfare of a child. Investigators say Kapan allegedly had sexual relations with a 15-year-old girl back in October. Police were called to his apartment on Hunter Avenue on November 14th. The teen told police that she was inside his apartment that night when they got into an argument. She accused Kapan of being drunk and he told her to leave. When she didn't, he allegedly dragged her out into the hallway by her ankles, which caused rug burn and scrapes scrapes to her back and hands, according to the criminal complaint. People who live in the area were disturbed to hear what happened inside their complex.
Well, I think it's disgusting, and I think that poor woman should get some kind of support, because what she went through was horrible, and there's lasting psychological and emotional effects from that. So I'm hoping that she gets some kind of help, and I think that the justice system obviously is flawed. So I'm just going to say that as a woman, I feel violated for her.
Capon has been suspended without pay. He's been with the NYPD since July of 2024 and was on extended leave at the time of his arrest. We are working to learn why that is. Meanwhile, he is due back in court on December 15th.
Seems like these New York cops want to hog all the airtime today. Hogging is what they do. This Oswego police officer has been charged with assaulting his girlfriend. Hogging our time. An Oswego police officer is accused of repeatedly punching his girlfriend in the head during a domestic incident and breaking her cell phone. That's the Oswego County Sheriff's Office said. Ryan S. Arestia, age 27 of Minetto, he got arrested, was charged with third-degree assault, a misdemeanor third-degree menacing, a misdemeanor third-degree criminal mischief, a felony, and second-degree harassment. Deputies responded to a report of a domestic dispute in progress on County Route 25 in Minetto at about 3:22 p.m. on November 10th. That's what Lieutenant Andrew Booker had to say. He's a spokesperson from the Sheriff's Department. And according to the criminal complaint signed by Deputy Matthew Pritchard, Arestia is accused of striking his girlfriend multiple times in the head with a closed fist, causing bruising to her head and a cut on her lower lip. Okay, the complaint said Arestia also took his girlfriend's iPhone 16 Pro Max, valued at $1,200, and broke it on the bathroom floor. Okay. Booker said deputies secured 2 firearms belonging to Arestia. Though nobody threatened to use them, Arestia was processed, arraigned in Oswego County Centralized Arraignment Court, and released. Booker said the victim's injuries were minor and she was not transported to a hospital. Arestia was hired by the city on January 16, 2024. Oswego Police Chief Phil Cady said he was notified about the incident by the deputies at the scene, and Arestia has been suspended with pay. And Cady said that the police department has taken possession of his badge and his service weapon. That's all we know about that goofball. He made it on the Bad Apple Report, and I appreciate you being here to watch it. Now, let's move on with the show.
The reason I asked you to come out today, first thing I want to do for y'all is read to you the mission statement, the current mission statement of the Sheriff's Office. And this is something that may change in the near future. It will change in the near future, but it just simply says this. It says the mission of the Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office is to provide every person, regardless of race, creed, color, sex, age, national origin, or other characteristic, whether resident, visitor, or traveler, the best law enforcement services and protection possible. During the campaign, I made a commitment to the people of Spartanburg County that we were going to bring back accountability to a different level. We were going to bring transparency to a different level. I have commonly said to you guys throughout the campaign that accountability, though, was heavily focused to myself simply because I had to restore faith in the people of Spartanburg County, in the office of the sheriff itself. I did not want to bring anything down from the men and the women that have been serving faithfully to this agency throughout what has taken place over the last year to year and a half. But at the same time, the men and the women that work here are an extension of me. They are deputy sheriffs, and they are held to a different level of accountability also because of what it is that we do. So it's just as important that we hold them to those same levels of accountability. The reason I'm asking you to be here today is because this morning it was brought to my attention that one of the deputies on a social media post last night made what would be easily considered a racially insensitive comment on social media. This was not brought to our attention by the public. This was brought to my attention internally by the office. I immediately met with the command staff. We started looking at the details of what was said and the context of what was said. And we will have media packets for you that will have copies of the current policies that we have. And let me just go ahead and tell you that the policies and the general orders that we give to you are going to have Sheriff Jeffrey Stevens' name on them. The reason they have his name on them still is we're in the process of going through the policy reviews and rewriting policies, and until those are rewritten in the format that I want them rewritten in, they are not going to have my name on them until I've signed off on them. but that will be coming in the near future. But in our personal web page and social media guideline under General Order 170, it clearly states under subsection F, and like I said to you, it will be there. It says no sexual, violent, racial, ethnically derogatory material, comments, pictures, artwork, video, or other reference may be posted along with the Sheriff's Office approved reference. The second part of that is when we looked at our rules of conduct, on our rules of conduct, and you'll be getting copies of all this, and we've highlighted this for you. Ironically, the social media part was already highlighted in red because we take very serious what we're talking about when it comes to our social media. A lot of people think that are on social media that it gives them a platform to be able to say anything that they want to say, and unfortunately that is not true. But it does say under 3A that conduct or unbecoming conduct, it says members of the Sheriff's Office shall conduct themselves at times both on and off duty in such a manner as to reflect most favorably on the office. Unbecoming conduct shall include that which brings the office into disrepute or reflects discredits upon the individual as a member of the Sheriff's Office, or that which impairs the operation or efficiency of this office or the individual. I met with every single solitary member of this office after I was sworn in on the 7th of November. I spent anywhere between 30 and 45 minutes with each member of this office, and I explained what my expectations were moving forward. And one of the expectations that I made very clear to them as we move forward is kind of something I've always called throughout this process of my deadly sins. And I've been very clear on this, that I expect officers to make mistakes. Mistakes are going to happen. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to grow from mistakes. We're going to learn from mistakes, and we're going to move on. Many of those mistakes that happen are a greater reflection of us as supervision and how we need to handle things, because we may have failed them in some category, and it tells us of things that we need to correct to ensure that we're moving forward in a way that is most productive for the people of Spartanburg County. Because at the end of the day, collectively, our job is to serve the people of this county. But I basically told them there are 4 things that are my biggest deadly sins. Number 1 is never lie to me. If you lie to me, you will be terminated from this agency. Not only will you be terminated, you will lose your certification moving forward. The second part of that is never break the law. If you break the law, we cannot maintain your employment. You are expected to maintain the law because you are the one that is enforcing the law. The third one, and this is where we get into my issue today, don't do anything that brings any ill repute on the agency. Don't do anything that brings any ill repute on the county of Spartanburg, and don't do anything that brings any ill repute on the state of South Carolina. Because what we do in uniform and the things and the choices that we make in uniform not only reflects on themselves, but it reflects on every man and woman that wears this uniform, not only here at the Sheriff's Office, but across the entire state in the United States. When things happen, and we see this, it could happen in California and you see it in South Carolina, it gives you that reason to pass judgment of what law enforcement is as a whole, and that is not representative of the men and women. The men and women at this agency do a tremendous job, but sometimes they make really bad decisions. And then the last one is simply this: don't do anything that brings any ill repute, or excuse me, I apologize, don't do anything that affects the people we serve. I made it very, very clear that the difference between a mistake and those 4 is those 4 are choices. And when you make those choices, you give me no choice but to have to deal with that. As a result, we brought the deputy in this morning. We explained to him the seriousness of the violations that have taken place. I explained to him the violations of the current policy and the rules of conduct, and we did terminate employment with that officer this morning. I thought it was important, with my commitment to accountability and my commitment to transparency to the people in Spartanburg County, to be the ones that let you know this and not hear it to the grapevine, and that's why I've called you here today to explain what has taken place. In your packets, I'm not going into detail on what was said. You've got it in your packet, pictures of what was put out there on social media. I'll let you handle that how y'all see fit on y'all's end. I'm not going to repeat what was said, but at this point in time, I will take any questions that you may have for me.
Dramatic courtroom scenes from Franklin County after a jury found a Blendon Township officer not guilty in the shooting death of a pregnant black woman. Now, Connor Grubb was charged in the shooting death of 21-year-old Takaya Young. Prosecutors argued Young posed no threat when she was shot outside a Kroger for allegedly shoplifting. The defense argued her car moving toward Grubb made his use of force, quote, reasonable.
Body cam video showed Grubb firing a single shot through the windshield as Young's car rolled forward. She and her unborn daughter later died at the hospital. As the verdict was read, Grubb showed little reaction, while Young's grandmother collapsed in tears.
Mr. Grubb, you're hereby discharged.
The family's attorney called the decision, quote, an American tragedy, end quote, and says they'll continue their fight in civil court.
That's about all the bad apples we have for this morning. Maybe we'll have something for this evening. I don't know. Maybe we'll just start all over again tomorrow. Either way, I appreciate you being here to watch the show. You're awesome. Your comments keep me going, you guys. So keep them coming. I really appreciate you. See you later.
1, 2, 3.